Welcome to Patrick Talks Teaching. Today we're going to take a look at polynomials once again, and pretty much the most complicated form of a trinomial that we can factor. Here's a question. 3x squared plus 14x minus 5. It's complicated because we've got a number in front of the x squared, and we also have some integers, so let's see what we should do. It's a little complicated, but it's a strategy that'll work every single time. We need numbers that will multiply together to give us a number that's equal to this number in front, the 3 times the minus 5, which is minus 15. But the same two numbers have to add together and give us the middle number in our question, which is the 14. So which two numbers are we going to look at? As always, there's plenty of factors we could look at. To get minus 15, well, I could do a minus 5 times a plus 3. That works. But they don't add together to give me plus 14. So a strategy we looked at in a previous video was that if that's a plus 14, that tells us our factors are going to be pretty far apart from each other. So let's try a plus 15 and a minus 1. 15 times minus 1 definitely gives us minus 15, so that works. And 15 plus minus 1 is the same as 15 take away 1, which is 14, so that works. So what we're going to do now is we're going to split that 14x into our two factors that we just came up with, a 15x and a minus 1x. So now what we do is we separate our question into two parts. The 15x is paired with the 3x squared, so I'm going to write the two of those parts of the question down together on one side of my little line here, and I'll write the minus 1x and the minus 5 down on the other side. Now each part we're going to want to factor. 3x squared and 15x, there's an x in each one and a 3 in each one. So I'm going to factor out a 3x, which leaves me just with an x left over right here. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. And we've already pulled out the x, so that's it. I'm going to carry down my little line of separation here. The other side, there's not a whole lot I can do. They're both negative, so I could definitely pull out a minus 1 if I wanted to. So if I did minus 1x divided by minus 1, I'm left with x. And the minus 5 divided by minus 1 leaves us with a plus 5. What you're going to notice is that these two brackets, if you've done the question properly, are going to be the same. And that's what you want to find, because that tells you you're on the right track. That x plus 5 is special because it's going to make the first bracket that makes up our factors. The second bracket actually comes from these numbers in front. The 3x and the minus 1 I'm going to put together in a second bracket. And now that's my final answer. Our question's been fully factored. So let's take a look at another question. This question's going to have a little extra step at the beginning here. I'm purposely making every coefficient even. First thing I want to do is if I have 4, 10, and 6 here, they're all even, so I could factor out a 2 and rewrite my question. 4 divided by 2 is 2x squared. 10 divided by 2 leaves me with a minus 5x, and 6 divided by 2 leaves me with a minus 3. Now because I have a 2 in front of the x squared, that tells me I'm going to have to do the same kind of method as I did before. So let's multiply the front and back number. 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. So I need two numbers that multiply to give me minus 6. But the same two numbers have to add up to this minus 5 as well. So I'm thinking this time, a minus 6 and a plus 1 should work beautifully. Minus 6 times 1 is minus 6, and a minus 6 plus 1 gives me that minus 5. So now I need to break apart this minus 5 into those two pieces. So we started off by factoring out a 2, so I'll write that in the front, and I'll put the 2x squared, but remember we're breaking apart the minus 5x into a minus 6x plus 1x minus 3. Now I'm going to draw my little line of separation here and factor each side of the numbers that are within the brackets. Well, 2x squared and minus 6x are both even, and both have an x, so I'll pull out a 2x. I'm going to be left with an x minus 3. The other side doesn't really have a common factor here, but I can pull out a 1, and that's going to leave me with an x minus 3 in this bracket. Now remember, these brackets, we want them to be the same, because that's the first part of my answer. So I'm going to rewrite my first bracket as x minus 3. My second bracket comes from the parts that are in front, the 2x and the plus 1. And I can't, of course, forget that we started off by factoring a 2 at the very beginning, so I write that at the front, and there we have a final answer.